I'm Nicole. I'm Nicole Lewis-Keeber, and I am the author of How to Love Your Business. And we are doing a read along, and we are on chapter 2. I am reading my book to you out loud because it was requested that I do so since I do not have a Audible type book. Feel free to grab your copy online on Amazon if you want to read along with us. And as I've mentioned before in previous chapters, I do have a learning disability and a processing disorder, so sometimes I'm going to make mistakes as I read for you because reading aloud is not my skill set. And we're just going to say, no big deal and keep moving because we don't do perfection here. We don't do a lot of editing. So just grace and compassion is what we roll with here. And we are going to jump into chapter 2. What is your relationship with your business and why is it so bad? Hmm. One of the first questions I always ask my clients is, why did you start your business? And then they'll tell me, and then I say, yeah, why? Like really, why? The answer I usually hear is that they wanted more money and financial freedom, and that may be part of it. But what I always ask people is to look deeper. I want people to create emotional sustainability and learn how to love and feel loved by their business, and that takes some honesty. There is a reason that people say that they want money and freedom, and it goes beyond the obvious. Sometimes they want to prove something to someone. For example, my dad said I'd never amount to anything. I'll show him. Sometimes they've experienced physical trauma as a child, and making money equals not only independence, but also protection and safety from future trauma. This is one of the reasons that I see so many business owners who are not satisfied um, when they reach their twin goals of making money and having more freedom. There is often a hidden agenda at play. In my time as a money mindset coach, it was 100% clear to me that the struggles that my clients were having were very rarely about money. The cases were deeper, the causes were deeper, the money represented safety, security, acceptance, you name it. And their emotional needs were being met by money, or so they thought. It is important to identify why you really started your business, knowing what your hidden agenda is to help you get clear and stay clear about what your emotional needs are within it. If you really started your business to rebel against those who hurt you and feel powerful, it may initially feel good, but you'll probably never achieve the emotional relief that you're looking for. When I started asking clients how they hoped they'd feel when they started their business, the most common answers to those questions weren't very deep. Quote, I hope that being my own boss would give me more freedom. Or, quote, I never thought about how I'd feel about it. I only thought about what kind of product I would sell or who my client might be. But when I started to ask, why did you start your business in slightly different, more creative ways, I got deeper answers and it reshaped my question this way. When you started your business, what did you want to feel? What did you want to get more of or feel more of? What are some deeper needs beneath the surface that you may have not have been trying to satisfy by founding your company? What have you said to yourself about what will happen? What will you get? Or what will you prove if your business is successful? How did you feel when you worked one more hour, got one more sale, and hit your first milestone? Did you experience relief? Did you feel accomplished? Or did you only feel driven to achieve more? The answers ranged across the map, but they all gave me insight into the embedded patterns that were undermining my clients' happiness and success at work. For the first question, what did you want to get more of or feel more of when you started your business? Clients would say things like this: I wanted to be seen and get more recognition. I felt like no matter what I did in my previous jobs, I was never acknowledged or appreciated. Or at least with my own business, I had hoped I would be given credit for my hard work. This can be a healthy reason to start a business, but it can backfire, especially if you're not used to giving yourself recognition. And if we do not have a healthy sense of self, we can defer our worthiness to someone else's external impressions. This replicates the pattern of not feeling worthy or recognition or celebration. When I asked my clients which deeper needs were being met by starting their businesses, the answers were righteous and inspiring. For instance, I had one client who said that she'd had a heightened sense of justice since she was a kid. I saw so many unfair things happening around me, and when I started my career, I had a very low tolerance for how unfair things were in the financial services industry. It bothered me, and so how I was treated and how others were treated. So I started my financial services company with a desire to make things fairer for women and to fix the flaws and injustice that I saw around me. On the surface, this may seem like a healthy reason to start a company. But because this client was so tied to her notions of justice, when her employees pushed back on a policy, she'd take it personally and react negatively. This strained her relationship with her employees and left her feeling frustrated that her company wasn't achieving what it was set out to do. The third question, what have you said to yourself about what will happen if your business is successful? You usually yielded answers that were very revealing as well. If my business is successful, then I will prove to those who discounted me that they should have paid me closer attention. I will rebel against the unfair and biased systems that I grew up with and show that things can be done differently and that the underdog can win. I will finally get the acknowledgement and respect that I deserve, and it will be one hell of a high school reunion. I forgot that part. Hmm. Plenty of people start their business to be their own boss and to have more freedom, but there are some people for whom their company is an act of rebellion. On the one hand, it can be highly motivating, but on the other hand, things can implode pretty quickly. Since it requires something to be rebelling against, this can set up a business built on high emotion, conflict, and resistance. I've seen clients who to stay motivated will keep finding things to rebel against. Eventually, they will rebel against their employees, their clients, and themselves. Needless to say, this is dangerous territory. Finally, when I asked my clients how they felt when they worked on one more hour, got one more sale, or hit a first milestone, the answers I got were typically full of panic and anxiety. At first, each sale made me happy because I had not been in that situation before, but I quickly began to start stressing about the next sale and then the next one. One client said, I wish I could say that I felt relieved with each milestone my business achieved, but I actually felt more afraid and more stressed out. The spotlight I'd once wanted now felt like an interrogation lamp. And yet another client told me, no relief, but my need to make it work pushed me to the brink on more than one occasion. No matter how many milestones they achieved or how much money they made, those clients were unable to accept their accomplishments because they were still reacting to a childhood wound or a trauma from a former boss. They were seeking security, but they were seeking security, but that feeling of security was elusive. It turns out that all the money in the world does not provide internal security. Mm, that's a big one. That's a big statement. Let's say that again. It turns out that all the money in the world does not provide internal safety. One of the things I emphasize to my clients is this: you bring all of who you are to what you do. That includes your emotions, needs, and wants. So while you may have never thought about your feelings in regard to starting your business, I can guarantee you that you have some emotions running underneath your decisions and aspirations. It is ideal to be connected to them and clear about what they are. We'll be talking about your vision and mission for your business in a later chapter. And for now, stay open to the idea that your business is an emotional endeavor and how you feel about it and in it matters. Some people start their own business to be a better boss to themselves and the boss or bosses that they've had in the past. Some inadvertently recreate bad boss patterns from previous jobs, being too tough on themselves and their employees. Here are three exercises that will help you figure out which previous bosses you most identify with and how you might consciously be a better boss to the most important employee in your business, you.